Today's video is about how I bought my first piece of land for $2,000 and why most people never, or a lot of people won't. And the honest truth is that a lot of people have this desire of wanting to own their own piece of land, but what stops them is usually fear, or there's just a missing information on what is all involved in buying a piece of land, how to buy a good piece of land, or how to even afford to buy good property or good land. So in this video, I'm going to cover a few things. The first, I'm going to share the story of how I bought my first piece of land for $2,000. It was actually 3 pieces of land for $2,000. I bought this in 2020 and how it's changed my life. And then I'm going to share on how you can do the same thing, and also what stops most people. So first, to kind of address the issue is, like, why do most people not purchase a piece of land even though they want to and whatever? The thing is, it's usually fear, right? They're worried that, well, first of all, it doesn't have a house on it and I can't rent it. So why would I buy this piece of land that doesn't generate income? Because only rental properties generate income, which is not the truth. There's ways that you can generate income with land. You can rent it out, you can lease it, you can build something on it and develop on it in the future. So that's one fear. Another fear is a lack of information, right? They're worried about, oh, how do I know that this is the right piece of land? And this easy solution to that is videos like this. Is you can totally educate yourself. There's thousands of videos on this topic on YouTube, and it doesn't have to stop you from buying your own piece of land. So now switching gears, the actual story is in 2020, I was looking at my first idea. I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which talks about how the rich own assets, and the way you get wealthy is you buy real estate or you buy things that pay you. And that sounded great, and I wanted to do that, but the problem is I couldn't get a loan to buy a bunch of rental properties because I was young, I didn't have established credit, and a few other things. So I started looking at other types of real estate. I was like, what other types of real estate exist? How can I still buy assets? How can I still buy these assets that can pay me and would be something that's good for my future? And there were a bunch of things that came up, right? There were tax liens, there was mobile homes, which is really interesting, and then the land. And there were like a few other ways to get involved in real estate, like, I don't know, like an Airbnb arbitrage business and all these random things. But the one that I found that was striking is land. And I was like, okay, fine, this seems interesting, and where I am located, when I look for land, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars and I can't afford it. And if you live in any major metro city, which you might be living in a major city, you can see like all this development land can be a few $100,000 to a few $1,000,000. And I noticed that. And I was kind of looking one day on Google and I was like, okay, let me type in cheap land for sale. And that is where it all started. So I typed in cheap land for sale, and I ended up on this website, which is a big website, which I'm going to make a video about. It's called LandWatch.com. And there's a few others now, landsearch.com, where you can look for land. And I went on landwatch.com, which is like a marketplace of all these people that are selling land. And I clicked the search button, sorted it from low to high, and I noticed that the first listing, it said $950 or something, or $900 for this quarter-acre piece of land in Navajo County, Arizona. So I called this person, and the company was Nonland Sales, and I called him. And now today we're good friends. We do a lot of work together in the land space. And I call him and I'm like, hey, you're selling this piece of land for $900. Is this real? How does this work? And then I was pretty skeptical. I was like, oh, I don't know if this is legit, or because buying real estate, you would assume would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, which it doesn't have to, which is what I learned that day. So there's a bunch of businesses that are doing this now is they buy vacant land from people that don't want it, and they mark it up a little bit, and then they sell it. And I called the company, and he had this quarter-acre piece of land in Navajo County, Arizona, and I bought it from him for. So here's the thing: I didn't buy just that one piece of land. I asked, okay, what else do you have? And then I asked him, okay, so if I buy these 3 pieces of land, can you give me a deal? And he's like, all right, I'll do it for $2,000. And I got a discount on top of a discounted price already. I was able to put together a package and buy 3 lots. They were all in Arizona, all small lots, and I got it for $2,000. So that is the thing. That's the time when it was 2020. I bought those 3 parcels. And I was just blown away. I was like, wow, you can really get into real estate for $2,000. You can't, nowadays, you can't even buy a used car for $2,000. You can, but it's rare. It's cost less than the price of a used car. I bought 3 little parcels. So shortly after that, we started our company where, I was like, okay, well, this is awesome. And then he told me about this thing called owner financing. And that is you don't even have to put the $2,000 up front right now. He said, well, if you pay a little more, because you can make payments on this land for like 2 years, and then once you've paid it off, you will transfer the deed. And I didn't even know that existed, that owner financing existed. And I bought it for cash the first time, but my next few properties were all owner financing because I didn't have just tons of cash sitting around. So that's the story. I mean, this is 5 years ago, and a lot has changed between now and then. But that's the overview of how I bought my first piece of land for $2,000. So now how can you do the same thing? You can do the same thing by doing exactly the same thing that I did. So you can go on these websites, LandWatch, you can go on Zillow. So Zillow is like the MLS. You might be familiar with that one. You can go on Land Search, and you can look for either by price, if you're on a budget, or you can look by location, and you can sort from low to high. You can put in a price filter, and that is how you can do it. There are hundreds, thousands of properties that are available for sale constantly. And all it is you just have to look and find the right one for yourself. And these videos that I'm making, I hope that it will educate you and help you on your journey to buying your own piece of land. But with that said, don't let the few things that we talked about why people don't buy land stop you, like fear, lack of information. All of that is fixable. And if you educate yourself through this video or another video, the answers are out there, and buying land can really change your life, and it can give you a sense of freedom, especially if you're creative and you're like, oh, I want to get a nice RV and go live off of my land, like some of our customers do. You can buy land for payments, monthly payments with owner financing, and I'm making a separate video on that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, any thoughts, drop them down below. And I hope the story in this video inspires